Hello, welcome to Souls Intersect. This reading is for Pisces Sun, Moon, and Rising signs, and it is focused on January of 2017. All right, so the cards that I pulled for you are the Nine of Wands, the Queen of Cups, the Star, the Four of Pentacles, the Sun, and the Seven of Wands. By the way, I just wanted to let you know these are a little bit shorter just for this month because I'm working on the annual readings for all of the signs as well. Okay, so I definitely see you coming up as the Queen of Cups. I feel you in your element, and I feel you also facing some emotions, realizing some emotions, and being upfront with them. And then I also see you being more open to receiving emotional love, emotional support, and compassion from others. But it's what I'm picking up on is a phase, feels like for most of January, of preparing yourself for that. So I sense that some of you Pisces have been maybe holding back a little on opening up to love. And this could be for those of you who are single and also those of you in relationships, because it could be opening up to brand new love for those of you who are single, and also opening up to maybe a new phase, a new depth of love, even if you're with someone. So I feel like there is all of this really positive energy for that, for allowing your heart chakra to open and to align with what you want on the emotional level, like what will complete you on the emotional level. And so there's a lot of hope and positive energy with that, especially with the Star and the Sun being the major arcanas that are coming through. What's interesting about the reading, though, is the Nine of Wands, the Four of Pentacles, and the Seven of Wands. All of those cards, so especially together, have, well, what they have in common is a little bit of a overprotection or holding back kind of thing. So putting up really strong and high boundaries. And you can even see in this depiction in the Four of Pentacles, all those pentacles are covering the heart chakra. So one thing is, I feel like this is referencing where you've been, but I also sense that for January, there may still be a period of being in that space somewhat. And I feel like this is meant to happen. So if you still feel like there are blocks, or like you are not ready, for example, to go to a new level or welcome something new in, it's because I feel like there's still maybe a nesting period happening in January, allowing some healing, divine healing to come through to help you not just break down barriers, but to know intuitively, because also the Queen of Cups is you being very intuitive this month. So to know intuitively which ones to leave up, because we always want to have some protection. We just need to learn how much to have and what areas need protecting and how to let down barriers also when we need to. So like the timing of that as well. But so it might feel stagnant still. It might feel like blocks are there still. But there's no doubting with the Star and the Sun that this is an optimistic situation. So that's what I'm sensing overall. I also feel like for some of you, with that Four of Pentacles, I'm sensing there is something going on in relation to work or career. Possibly a little bit of stagnancy happening there as well. And maybe some nervousness around that. But I also feel like, again, there may be a little bit of a continued pause, but it's for a reason. It's because there are certain things that need to play out during this month in order to get you where you need to be in the time that you need to get there. I also feel like there is for some of you, the calling and the thoughts of taking your work to a spiritual level or incorporating something spiritual into what you already do. And this doesn't have to necessarily be reading like this, for example, though it could be. Pisces are very intuitive, so it could be in relation to that. But it could also be something physical, like yoga, for example. So maybe a little bit less directly doing spiritual or intuitive work, I would say. It's still very spiritual. And it could be even less so, to where it's something where it's, again, not directly using your intuitive abilities to do work, but channeling or incorporating spiritual aspects into the work you do. This feels very strong for you. And I'm sensing not just January for this, I'm sensing this overall for 2017. I feel like you've been building these abilities, whether it be creative, channeling spiritual energy into artwork that you do or something else creative, or again, directly doing intuitive work, healing, energy healing, Reiki, yoga, that you've been building towards developing your abilities further. And I feel like you're finally coming to a state of completion with that. And I'm just sensing overall that this is a really positive year for all this to come together, because those two Wands cards, although both of them can hint at there being possible barriers or a sense of needing to persevere through something that might feel difficult, because of that star again in the sun, it feels very optimistic. And I feel like the element of the Wands in this case has very much to do with spiritual work. I feel like the Four of Pentacles, playing into that theme also, is relating to either saving money so that you can maybe indulge, for example, taking the time now to save money if you can do that, so that you can do something like maybe work less at something else and bring in or spend more time doing spiritual work, for example, or save money to then begin a business of some kind that relates to this either more creative, passion inspired, or spiritual work. I feel like there is a lot of hope, and I feel like you have a strong potential to bring in money later on doing this sort of work. So many of you may be considering transitioning, is what I'm saying, into something more creative or spiritual. And I feel like there's a lot of potential for that. And that brings us back to the Queen of Cups. And I feel like you're coming up as that in relation to this interpretation, because it's really focusing on your strong intuitive abilities as a water sign. And also those of you drawn to this channel, I feel like there's this message for you to embrace those intuitive and spiritual abilities, because there's definitely potential and something even fated for some of you to be able to use those skills and abilities in work life, and then also in relationships, because the earlier part of the reading had a lot to do with opening up and learning about boundaries. I feel like there's one last message with that, which is that you know innately how to manage those things, and that will come through to you intuitively as well. So listen within, because I feel like you definitely have the answers, and I feel like those abilities are opening up as well. All right, beautiful reading for you, Pisces. If you have any questions about the general reading or about my services, feel free to email me at soulsintersect@gmail.com, and the address to my site is below. Thank you. Happy January.